our number one KPI for our customers is of course meetings. But the second thing, which you could argue is actually even more important than the first, is replies. Because replies, whether they're positive, negative, or neutral, that helps your email deliverability, your domain health, as it's called, which means the next email you send now has a higher likelihood it's going to land in the inbox and not into spam. So we do a lot to prioritize replies.
Anytime we do any kind of outreach, if we get a no or we get ghosted, we feel rejected. And I think we're just programmed to avoid rejection. And if you try cold emailing for 3 days and you get zero response, or the only responses that you get are people that want to like murder you, we want to stay away from that.
I always feel like cold email gets a bad rap, and that cold email is treated differently than pretty much any other marketing media. What happens if you, let's say, do a Facebook ad, right? And I've done a lot of Facebook, social media type ads. You see the number of impressions that the ad has. Maybe you have 15,000 impressions. You still reached 15,000 people that had impressions on it. But it's for some reason treated differently than if you send 15,000 emails. So I do think cold email is treated and looked at in a different lens. That isn't always fair. And part of it is because there's a lot of horrible cold emails out there.
On episode 411 of the podcast, we talk about how to craft magnetic cold emails that actually get responses without coming off as spammy. And I'll tell you this, somebody in my mastermind right now is just nailing this cold email outreach thing. Super relevant topic that I think can be really, really helpful in your business. We also talk about the sneaky way to offer personalized video audits that'll have prospects begging to work with you. And we talk about why patience and persistence are your secret weapons for cold email success. All that and so much more in today's episode. What is up, my filmmaker friend? Hey, it's Ryan from Studio Sherpas and the Grow Your Video Business Show. I'm so happy that you are here. I've been doing this work 20 years, running my own video production business called Tell Studios here in the Metro Detroit area. And man, it has been so easy to build a profitable business. That is exaggeration and a little bit of sarcasm. This is hard work. And I know that you're here. I think that you're here because you want to learn, you want to grow, you want to build a better business, you want to grow your video business. So I'm really excited because if you take action on the things that we talk about in this show, I think it can help your business. That's why we do it. This topic in particular, I think if you walk away and you apply some of these things, you apply some kind of a strategy like this, and I know there's gurus and people out there that say, I've never sent a cold email, I'll never do that. You know, that's fine. That's fine for them. If they've built their business a different way and they have a way that has worked for them, great. If you're struggling, if you feel like you've tried a bunch of things and you've stayed away from cold email, consider it. If you need more, if you want more work, consider a different strategy. And like I said, like you don't have to come across as spammy or needy. The work that you do is valuable, and the service that you offer can help businesses grow and thrive. So it is your duty, it is your responsibility to show up and let people know how you can help them, okay? So before we get into the episode, I want to remind you that this month, November, we are taking applications for our mastermind group. We've got more than one group that's going to be launching. I currently lead 2 groups, but in January, we're going to have our new cohorts, some returning members, some new members of the mastermind begin. So now we are taking applications so that I can do interviews with people that are interested in joining the mastermind. So if you have questions about the mastermind, if you know it's a no-brainer, it's time, now's the time to take action. Don't wait until January, because by January it's going to be too late. You can get all the information by going to studiosherpas.com/mastermind. We lay out a lot of the things regarding mastermind on that page, and then you can apply for the mastermind on that page. When we get your application, so long as you seem like you'll be a good fit, which there's only a couple of criteria. You got to be a full-time filmmaker, and you have to have at least $100,000 in revenue. Outside of that, We've got people from all stages in their video business. And what's beautiful is everybody walks away feeling like they have contributed something and they've also gotten something. So it's not just for people who have arrived or are at this certain level. It's for everyone, so long as you meet those two criteria. So you can learn all of the things by going to studiosherpas.com/mastermind. Don't delay. If you're feeling like, I feel like I should be a part of a smaller group that's going to keep me accountable, that I'm going to see at least a couple of times a month on these calls, we'll get together for a retreat at the beginning of the year in probably sunny Florida, and hang out and get time together. It is valuable. You're going to feel like you're not on an island. You're going to feel like you've got people that are in your corner that are going to be able to help you in the things that you want to accomplish in your business. Yes, we're all running video businesses, but what's beautiful and amazing is when we come together and we look at life and our business with an abundance mindset. It's incredible what happens. So go check out the mastermind, again, studiosherpas.com/mastermind, and hope that you apply. With that, let's get into today's episode. Here we go. What's up, friends? Hey, welcome to another episode of the show. My guest today is Adam Rosen, who is the founder and CEO of email outreach company. Adam, thank you for being here today. I don't know if we cold emailed you or you cold emailed us, but it worked because here we are.
Amen. Ryan, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So we're going to be talking about cold email outreach. And I know there are so many people that are like, this just sounds gross. I don't want to do it. Like, this is not going to work, whatever. But I'm just going to start this episode saying, Lauren, who's in our masterminds, 3 weeks ago, she texted our entire group and said, you guys, it worked. She has been at this for months, and she's been emailing. I don't know how many people. I should have asked her how many people, but she landed. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the size of client. I think that I didn't say her last name. So yes, $50,000 client that they've booked. They also have gotten connected to Mack Truck, which is like a massive brand that they found out was like in their backyard, basically. And they had a great conversation with this guy. He wanted them to bid on this like massive project. And it sounds like if they don't get the whole thing, they're getting some of this. And it all came because of cold email outreach. And I was telling you, Adam, before we hit record, that this is really how I got so much of my start, was reaching out to different venues and places that I want to be, events that I wanted to be a part of. And it can work. But I would say that a lot of what doesn't work is what so many of us are used to receiving, are like spam emails that you can tell from a million miles away that people are just trying to pitch their product or service, and it feels gross. So help us understand the way of the cold email outreach.
Well, first, I give Lauren a lot of credit because she stuck with it. And when it comes to any marketing, I don't care if it's SEO, I don't care if it's a billboard, I don't care if it's cold email, an Instagram ad, you name it. Marketing takes time. And there are so many people that expect results overnight. They expect in that first week, and then they just give up on it. And Lauren, she took 3, 4, 5 months, and now she's seeing the results from it, but it's a credit to her for sticking with it. So that's number one. And number two, right, I got to say, I'm shocked. Like, cold email, I thought was known as like the sexy, fun, exciting thing. And you're over here saying it's not the most exciting thing. What are you doing here?
Yeah, for you, because you've cracked the code. But I think, and I'll just say this, I'll preface this with, as creatives, creatives tend to be a little bit more, we wear our feelings on our sleeves. And there's this feeling of anytime we do any kind of outreach, if we get a no or we get ghosted, we feel rejected. And I think we're just programmed to avoid rejection. And if you try cold emailing for 3 days and you get zero response, or the only responses that you get are people that want to like murder you, we want to stay away from that.
Well, that's the key part, Ryan, is I always feel like cold email gets a bad rap, and that cold email is treated differently than pretty much any other marketing medium. Like, one of the things a lot of people say is you have to send so many emails to get a response, which Yeah, sure, that's true. But you can automate a lot of that. But number two, what happens if you, let's say you do a Facebook ad, right? And I've done a lot of Facebook, social media type ads. You see the number of impressions that the ad has. Maybe you have 15,000 impressions. Maybe it's 121 likes. Maybe it's 47 people that filled out your form. But you still reached 15,000 people that had impressions on it. But it's for some reason treated differently than if you send 15,000 emails. So I do think cold email is treated and looked at in a different lens that isn't always fair. And part of it is because there's a lot of horrible cold emails out there that make it feel like spam, that make it feel like it's ugly and gross. And that's why for me, one of the things that I've always tried to do, I learned this during my first tech startup. I remember a mentor said it to me, was one of the best things you could do in your industry is to move the industry forward. And if you move the industry forward, then you did something good with your startup. And that's one of the things that I look to do with my current company, email outreach company that I've had for 3.5 years is if we can make cold emails a little better and move the industry forward a little bit, then I feel like we did at least part of our job.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for somebody that is well, all of the video people that I coach and mentor and whatever, one of the number one, if not number two things that they need more of in their business is they need more leads, they need more sales, right? So, and a lot of us just kind of want to sit back and hope that the leads come in, and that doesn't, the hope marketing is not a great strategy. So how can, who's the best fit for this kind of strategy, and how does somebody get started?
And first, one thing that almost every business has in common is that we want more leads and we want more sales. It is very rare that a company doesn't want more leads or doesn't want more sales. Like whether you're Goldman Sachs and Amazon and Apple and Goldman, or you're just starting your business, everybody wants more customers. So that's one thing that just about all of us have in common. Now, is cold email a fit for you? If you're listening to this, I would look at it in really one way. One, can I get email addresses for my potential customers? If yes, cold email is a fit. If no, cold email probably is not a fit. It's really as simple as that. Now, is everybody a good fit to work with my company, for example? No, not everyone's a good fit to work with my company. However, is everybody a good fit to do cold email? If you can get email addresses for your prospective buyers, yes, 100%, absolutely.
Okay, well, where should somebody start that says like, okay, like, yeah, I think maybe there's a list out there. I don't know how to get a list. And then like, how do they structure an email? And is it, 7 emails and then I'm done? Is it, just send one and then, if I don't hear back, then we're done. What's a good strategy?
The biggest mistake that comes into play right now and we're recording this in September of 2024. And the world is changing so much. So I try to say in almost every podcast, like, hey, whatever I'm telling you here, just know if you're listening to this a month later, 2 months later, like you're already behind because it's changing that rapidly. However, the foundation, the fundamentals will stay consistent. The biggest mistake people make is not about email copy. It's not even about getting quality lists. It starts at the front, which is the foundation. The foundation has gotten so much more complex than it used to be. So what do I mean by that? In the old days, when we would run email campaigns for our customers, we would create one domain that we would send emails from and a few email addresses we should send from. Because look, even 15 months ago, you should never mass email off your main domain. It's too risky. Now, though, it is not a nice to have. It is a must have. If anyone listening to this is mass emailing off their main domain, which could be more than 20 emails per inbox in a day, stop it. Don't do it. If that's one takeaway, don't do it because it's too risky. I just had a call before I hopped on this podcast, and I had these conversations all the time with people whose domains are either blacklisted or borderline blacklisted, where every email they're sending is going into spam because they were sending mass emails off their main domain. So just the number one thing is you got to create an infrastructure, create domains, create email inboxes, set up the DNS records, warm up those domains. You got to get the infrastructure built. If you get that area right, then you can get to the second area, which is getting high quality lists. Then you can get to the next level, which is writing high quality content that's going to convert. But it all starts with the foundation now more than ever.
Yeah, that's good. So I don't want that to go unheard. I want to re-emphasize what you just said. if you say, yeah, you know what, I think I'm going to take this strategy, and there's nothing wrong with sending 3-5 emails a day from your your regular domain that's you're just doing cold outreach. But if you do what I'm assuming Adam does here, where it's like, hey, we're going to send 20 to 50 or 100 emails a day, if you're going to do anything close to that, you get a completely separate domain. Like our main website is tellstudios.com. Our old website was gototell.com. We changed that when we actually ended up becoming Tell Studios. Anyway, Go to Tell, we don't use that for anything. We redirect gototell.com to Tell Studios. So that would be an ideal domain that we could send emails from. So my email would be from ryan@gototell.com, and I'd send out 100 emails a day from that email. And then if I get blacklisted or anything like that, it doesn't matter, because I still have my heart and soul, which is tellstudios.com. My website's intact. Nothing has touched my email or my website. It's all from that other one. So note to self, just like heed that advice. Thank you for prefacing that. That was one of my notes here. So I'll say that one of my experiences that I mean, I can sniff out like, okay, this is definitely a cold email outreach here. And typically I'm just like, I usually do work with people that I know, or that that are in my network, or if I've got a problem, I'll reach out to people and ask for referrals, whatever. This one time I got an email, and I was like, okay, here we go again. But the difference in this email, there was a Loom video that was in the video. And, Loom video, you got like the little animated GIF, like the 1.5 second. And I think in that it said, oh, no, the person was on my website. And I was like, oh, okay. So this isn't just like, the spam, like somebody's on my, so I clicked the thing, I watched the video, and, the person's like, hey, Ryan, I'm so-and-so at this agency. We help you get new leads, blah, blah, blah. And it's just it's a repeating, they're just scrolling on my website up and down, up and down. Anyway, I was like, I'm going to call these guys, cause I bit, right? I clicked on the thing. So I'll get on a call. I had 2 calls with these guys, and I considered hiring them. What I found out was that Loom video was actually AI. He hired somebody for very inexpensively to go to a bunch of different websites, record, just a scroll of a website. And then they used AI. So he didn't actually say Ryan. He typed in, he had a way to say everybody's name who he's reaching out to. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I got duped. But at the same time, I mean, it worked. I mean, I ended up on the call. So I'm not going to say that it was right or wrong. It worked. I will say that. So what strategies, what are some like best practices that people should think about as they're crafting emails, considering, should we do these AI Loom videos? What do you recommend?
Yeah. And it's a credit to that company. They were being creative. And it's funny when I see that stuff, I know it's mass outreach. And I know that that's, leveraging AI, but for me, I actually don't mind it, because for me, it's like, if I am watching, I'm going to watch my Jets play tonight on Thursday Night Football, and there's going to be commercials. And in those, I'm praying Aaron stays healthy. I'm hoping I don't watch this podcast back and regret jinxing anything. So anyway, that's another conversation. If I see an advertisement during one of the commercials and I'm interested in their product, I'm going to take my phone out, take my laptop out, and search that product and see if maybe this could be a solution to something I'm looking for. I look at cold emails, cold LinkedIn messages, Facebook ads, whatever, the same way. Now, it has to be structured properly and to do it in a respectful way, in a professional way. The amount of horrible emails I get with spelling errors, poor spacing, horrible personalization, like, hi, I see you're the co-founder at email outreach company. You must be looking for more customers. It's like, dude, don't even bother doing this fake personalization because it's so poorly done. It's like, that's what it's going to look like if we work together. But if you do something creative, like a lot of people used to do those fake videos scrolling through your website, like that stuff is creative. I like it. We do different things that we do a lot of deep AI personalization in emails where many people respond and they say, wow, this was such a well-written email. I could tell you really did your research on us and blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, we sent a different email because it's personalized, but that same style email to hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of people. But every email looks like someone just did 30 minutes of research on your website. So As long as you show that you are professional and doing things well, a lot of different strategies can work. We have a playbook, about 10 to 15 plays, we call it. And these are all just different strategies that we implement when we're doing our cold emailing. But the key is every strategy has to be done to the highest level of professionalism, because there's so much emailing out there that isn't professional, that isn't well done. And if it's not well done in that first touch point, what do I think it's going to look like if we actually work together?
Yeah. This is totally random, but do you know Matt Easton perchance?
I don't think so. It doesn't ring a bell.
Now, I think you're both from New York, I'm assuming, because I literally just got off an interview with him and he used the same bup. And I'm like,
funny.
Oh man, is that a New York thing or something? I've just heard it back to back. It's got a nice ring to it. So you might.
Funny. I think Matt Easton's Matt Easton's the sales guy you see on Instagram. Is that who it is?
Yep.
Yeah. I've seen his content before.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was. Yeah, he's got a little bit of energy. That was.
Yeah, I bet.
When you're talking about structure, like what's your ideal? Do you have a framework for how people should structure their emails, or what should that look like or feel like? At least that initial one.
This is like our like for anyone who's read Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is timeless, right? Like that's one of the beauties of that book. It's like it's timeless. I don't care what year you're reading it, it's still going to be relevant. So this framework I'm going to give you is something that I used to preach a lot, but it's a great starting point when it comes to an email. Now, there's a lot of our emails are not structured this way anymore just because we have very deep AI personalization, but it's a lot of similar type of stuff. So it's still very relevant. A simple way to structure it is the first line, what's the purpose of your email? Now make that one sentence on its own line. Next line, what's the problem that you solve? One sentence on its own line. Third, what's your solution? One sentence on its own line. Fourth, what's your social proof? So I've worked with companies X, Y, and Z. I've been featured on A, B, and C news outlets. Social proof. Then the fifth, also on its own line, just what's your call to action? Hey, do you have 15 minutes to chat? If you use that as just like a simple structure, you'll already be ahead of the game when it comes to cold emailing.
Dude, that's great. For something like that, are you suggesting people have like a Calendly booking link or something like that people could book directly, or what would you recommend?
I'm happy you asked that. No, you don't. Not in your first email. The reason why, there's a lot of triggers that will increase the likelihood you end up in spam. Things like tracking opens. Do not track opens for really two reasons. One, it's unreliable data. Opens are so overcounted because a lot of technology will open, quote unquote, an email, even though it's not a real human opening. So it's unreliable data. And two, it increases the likelihood you end up in spam. So it adds no value really from a data standpoint, or adds little value, I should say, from a data standpoint, and actually hurts you when it comes to landing in the inbox. Number two, tracking clicks. That also will increase the likelihood you go into spam. Three, using like spammy type of words, like, hey, using the word sale as an example. Like if you use spammy type of words, that also increases the likelihood you end up in spam. Adding images and GIFs and memes, those types of things increase the likelihood you end up in spam. Adding links is another reason you will go into spam. So that first email, for us, it's all plain text, HTML, no links. The way we do it is when someone's interested, hey, yeah, let's talk. That's when you can send a Calendly link or whatever booking software you use. So I don't recommend links in that first email. And then the second thing I'll say is our number one KPI for our customers is, of course, meetings. We want to get as many high quality meetings as possible. But the second thing, which you could argue is actually even more important than the first of getting meetings, because it'll lead to more meetings, is replies. So we prioritize getting as many replies as possible, because replies, whether they're positive, negative, or neutral, that helps your email deliverability, your domain health, as it's called, which means the next email you send now has a higher likelihood it's going to land in the inbox and not into spam. So we do a lot to prioritize replies.
Yeah, that's interesting. In my mind, I've always wanted to rely on, hey, we're a video company, so I should be making a Loom video in introduction and, hopping on. Countless times I've been on somebody's website and I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't have a video. They don't have a video background on their front page. Like, what are they thinking? And so I'll hop on their website and, just, hey, this is what we do. And I noticed that you guys didn't, should we hop on a call? So you're basically recommending it, especially if I've got like a bigger cold email outreach campaign, to probably not do a Loom video like that. Maybe a follow-up email or not. I guess at that point you're really just trying to get people on a call.
But what you could do to use your point, Ryan, is you could kill two birds with one stone. And the way to do it is by using a lead magnet instead. So instead of saying, hey, we hop on a 15-minute call, maybe your call to action is, hey, can I send you a video with my thoughts on your website? And then they say, yeah, sure, send me the video. Then you send the video. You'll get a lot of replies. So that's why I say kill two birds with one stone. You'll get replies from it.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to send it. And also, now you are only doing work with someone who's a little more qualified. So if they're saying, yeah, sure, send it, they're probably a little more qualified than maybe just sending a bunch of videos that, especially if you're doing them one by one manually, that's a waste of your time.
Dude, that is worth the cost of admission right there, because like in my mind, there's this like, oh, okay, let's say we find, 100 people that we want to reach out to that are in this specific niche. I'm like, okay, well, we can set up the automation to figure out how to, automate all of his videos. We can send these emails, whatever. But if we're only making videos for those people that respond and say like, yeah, send this, I mean, that's going to be well worth my, 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever kind of little mini audit that I'm going to do, because they're showing interest. And even if they have video on their website, so I don't visit these 100 websites, beforehand. It's just like, here's the list. I have no idea if they have video or not. So to form our email in a way that says like, hey, I can give you a mini audit review of, the video or videos that you do or do not have. I don't know how you would say it to make it seem more generic. But there's always something that I could say, man, that your front page video is amazing. So kudos to you. And if there's a way for me to figure out, how it could be better or something that is missing, that could be helpful for them. But I really like that idea of not feeling the pressure to make 100 videos, but make 2 or 5 or 10 or however many people respond. That would be really interesting experiment for us to toy with. So let me write that down. I'm going to do that when we get off the call here. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. I just did it. I reached out. I got 7 videos I got to make. Now I'm just
all right, you got it. You got 3 customers.
Yeah. Just nailing it. Are there any, I know when I was setting up my domain, I was trying to figure out, I'm like, do I need to create a Google Workspace, or are there other simpler, kind of like services that you would recommend people to set up if they're going to buy, let's say somebody buys 3 domains, should those all be like Google Workspaces so they can email from there? Is that the easiest one, or is there a better option?
Yeah. So I'll give you an idea, just what we do with that, and then how people could do it on their own. Or of course, I'd be lying if I said, hey, don't reach out to me and see if we could do something for you. But we have our full service.
Certainly.
We have our full service customers where we just do everything. We book the meetings, they show up to the meetings. That's not the best fit for everybody, especially for earlier stage startups. So if you're a smaller startup, what we built is like a DIY offering, where basically we build out your whole infrastructure, your domains, 10 domains and 30 inboxes, and it goes up from there. So you don't have to worry about that. And then we hook it into the technology that we recommend, which is a technology called Instantly, which is a phenomenal tool for getting lists, sending mass outreach, managing all those replies in one location. Like my team is managing over 3,000 inboxes for our full service customers, and we don't have a big team. We have 9 people on the team currently.
Wow.
So it's a great tool that allows you to manage these inboxes at scale. So don't think like, 30 inboxes, that's so much. How am I going to manage that? I promise you it's very easy if you have the right systems in place. Now, if you're like, hey, I want to try to do this on my own, you can buy them through like a GoDaddy. Just make sure when you do it though, you're able to set up the DNS records properly. The vast majority of domains are not set up properly, which means they don't have their registration stickers. So if you think about like a registration stickers on a car, If you don't have your registration stickers in your car, you get pulled over, you're in bad shape. Same idea with your DNS records, which are like your which are like your registration stickers. So things like your DKIM, your SPF, your DMARC, you got to set up all those, the back end, so that the highway, these emailing technologies, it can land in the inbox and not be redirected to spam. And then, yeah, you set up the Google Workspaces and hook it into instantly, which for some people is a lot of work and is hard to do. And that's why we created our DIY. But if you're someone on your own that wants to do it, I would use like a GoDaddy, a reputable source like that, create the Google Workspaces, create 3 inboxes per domain, then hook it into a sending technology like an Instantly. And then that at least gets you part of the way there.
And then what's the strategy behind 3 email addresses for one domain versus just using one?
It's just because you can get away with 3. We saw if you get more than 3, it can, because if a domain gets blacklisted, you're in tough shape. The most expensive part of buying domains and inboxes is the domain. At least that's initial cost. So if you could get 3 inboxes, it just saves you a lot of time versus having to set up 30 domains and 30 inboxes. Instead, you could do 10 domains and 3 inboxes per domain.
Yeah. So I'm thinking if I've got 3 inboxes, like let's just use my gototell.com as an example there. I would have Ryan at gototell.com, but you're suggesting having like 2 other email addresses connected there. And why would you want or need like more than that one?
If you want to do email at scale, which at the end of the day, email is a numbers game. Like if you're not sending hundreds of emails a day, it's going to take a long time to get results. Like a really good metric for anyone to follow is for every 1,000 emails you send, if you're getting 1 positive reply, like 1 person wanting to meet with you, you're in like the gold standard. I just spoke to a company. They're an agency and they just saw my calendar. They just booked a meeting with me basically. And what I found is they just wanted kind of my free help, which whatever, I'll give it to you. But they're a marketing agency. One of the things they do is email. It's not their bread and butter. And they're really struggling with their customer. Yeah. Because they're sending 20,000 emails and getting 1 positive reply. And the way they count a positive reply is not somebody wanting to meet. It's somebody just saying, basically, I'm interested or can you tell me more information via email, basically? Or I'm not the right person, or hey, maybe follow up with me in the future. So it's a lot of emails. But if you're doing 1,000 emails, getting 1 positive reply, you're doing well. So in order to do it at scale, you got to send a lot of emails, of course. Now it's 1,000 total emails, not unique emails. So it might be 200 people that you're reaching out to 5 times, not 500 times, as an example. If you reach out to someone 500 times, you'd be rightfully so, hopefully banned from the internet. So the reason why, to go back to your point, Ryan, you want to have more inboxes is because you can only send about 20 emails per inbox in a day. So if you want to send 200 emails in a day, you really have to have at least 10 inbox that you're sending from. Our largest customer, we have over 1,000 inboxes that we send from because the scale that we're doing it for them is quite significant. And in order to make sure that they can land in the inbox, we got to set up this whole infrastructure. We would rather it be like the old days where we could have a few inboxes we're sending from. But unfortunately, the old days of email are long behind us.
Yeah, that's good. That's really helpful. That makes sense. I'm like, oh yeah, duh. Yeah, you can only send so many. What's one of your favorite success stories that of a client that you guys have helped?
For me, I love, while we do work with a lot larger companies now, I'm a startup guy. I've always been a startup guy. So like one of our startups, they've been a phenomenal customer. They've been working with us for I don't know, 2.5 years at this point. They've made, over $1 million of sales from our leads that we've generated for them. And, for a small startup, that's a significant chunk of change. So that's always a fun one. But we work with some pretty exciting customers now, and just seeing some of the meetings we book, like C-suite level at Fortune 10 companies, those are always pretty fun for us. But for me, I love when our meetings turn into revenue, because that's my favorite way of getting judged is how much money are we making for you. Because if we're making you a lot of money, you're going to be very happy, and we're going to be very happy because you're going to be happy with us.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Adam, if somebody is, I mean, here's the thing. There's the people that are always going to DIY, try to figure it out and stumble along the way. It's going to take longer. It's going to be a little bit harder or a lot bit harder. One of my favorite books from last year was Who, Not How. And I'm not sure if you read that.
I'll check it out.
But it's like we can, as entrepreneurs, we just figure the things out. Does it take us way too long? Yeah, it probably does. And so finding somebody that can help us get to the finish line faster. Sometimes, a lot of times, it's probably what we should do. So for those people that are, maybe they've tried it, it's not working, or people that are just like, I don't have the time or the bandwidth to like set this up or do this. How can somebody engage with you guys? What does that look like?
Yeah, check out our website, eocworks.com. And then my email is adam@eocworks.com. And feel free to reach out with any questions or if we can be helpful with anything.
Awesome. My friend, this was great. I'm excited to just hear the response. I'm excited to hear some people that are like, man, I took Adam's advice, started doing this, and it is working. It's growing my business. It's really, really helpful. So thanks for being generous with your information. And how would you like to leave us today?
I'm going to leave it with Lauren. I've never met Lauren, but I feel like we started our conversation with Lauren, so I feel like we'll leave it with Lauren. Is one of my baseball coach actually in high school always said, Adam, patience is a virtue. I am a New Yorker where that is so the antithesis of what's probably most natural to me. But as I've gotten older, I've learned patience in the right times can be key. And whether it's cold email marketing, whether it's just any type of marketing, whether it's building your business, patience is a virtue. As long as we are growing in step by step by step, trying to get to where our goals are, and we're working hard to get there and doing the right things along the way, good things will work out for everyone listening to this. So that's where I'm going to leave it at, as a credit to Lauren for her patience now paying off, and for everyone, just patience is a virtue as long as we're working hard towards our goals.
Yeah, love that. Adam, awesome. Wishing you a ton more success. Thank you again for being with us today.
Likewise, man. Ryan, I really appreciate you having me on.
All right, my friend. So are you leaving this episode feeling like, yeah, it's time for me to do some cold email outreach? We've talked in our mastermind, we've said, hey, what if we just committed to like sending 5 messages a day? Start there, start somewhere. Maybe it's just one. Maybe if you just say like, I want to send out 1 cold email a day. Or what if you just said like, I just want to send 1 a week. If you just sent 1 cold email a week, that's 52 by the end of the year. 52 people that you wouldn't have reached out to otherwise. What is the worst that's going to happen? The worst is somebody marks you as spam and like, I don't know, sends you a nasty email. There are worse things that can happen in life. What's the best thing that can happen? It could actually work. So don't knock it till you try it. Don't send 2 emails and just be like, it didn't work. You've got to commit to it. You've got to have a rhythm. Got to have a plan, all that stuff. So that's all. If you need anything from me, please reach out, ryan@studiosherpas.com. You can leave a comment on this video. Let me know if there was a big takeaway for you. If you're interested in the mastermind, don't forget, the time to apply is now. So go read all the information at studiosherpas.com/mastermind. And I hope you get the courage to say, you know what? This is it. This feels good. I'm going to apply and we'll see what happens. That's all I've got for now. Have an amazing rest of your week. Keep on climbing this mountain of entrepreneurship and building a video business that is profitable, that adds value, that can change the world. It's not always easy. So my hope is that you feel energized, you feel ready, and you've got what it takes to keep climbing and to get to the next peak in your video business journey. That's it for now. See you next time.